Jimmy McCallion found the net. Goal for Wednesday.
Terrific goal by Taylor.
Chris Waddle, is he going to have a crack?
Oh, he does, and it's goal. Still Glenn Wheeler. Hayden Flynn wins the
Is there time for a winner?
Hello and welcome to Wednesday Tie-Dye Podcast. I'm James Mappin, of course, and with Matt Johnson, as always. This is extra time where we're going to talk about a couple of things. One being the form away from home. Why is it so different this season? Is it down to, bit of pressure at home? Do we play differently away from home than we do at Hillsborough? We'll talk about that because we didn't get time to talk about it on the main show. And then also a little bit about whether Dapon will be patting himself on the back after we've won a game and thinking that he's done a good job and stuff like that. I am just going to start, Matt, though, and say, obviously, I can say this now because it's kind of been, although I did mention it in Discord the other day, but we have been shortlisted for an award at the Football Content Awards, which is unfortunately this year going to be at Elland Road, which is a bit of a downer, that one, isn't it? But no, we're delighted nonetheless. It will be announced. So if you listen to this live, it'll be announced tomorrow on Monday at some point, and we'll kind of see who we're up against. But I just want to, first of all, thank you, Matt, really, for if it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be any podcasts as well. So it's just
it's great. It's great. We've had a line of people.
Well, but it's great. You know what? I do want to say thank you though, because it's just great to be nominated. Whether we win it or not, it doesn't really matter. But it's just great to be nominated for an award, really, isn't it?
It is. Definitely. I tell you what, James. If I can, we were talking about this just before recording. If I can get the time off, obviously work, I'll be there one way or another. But if I can get the time off work for the following day, I listen to so many football podcasts, like so many of them. I cannot wait. And also, there's a lad who is there from. He runs. I Had Trials once. He's one of the lads who does that. I went to uni with him. And I noticed he was there at last year's awards do. So I was like, fucking hell, that's a piss take. Absolute piss take. So, yeah, if I manage to bump into any of the football ramble lot as well, that I will lose my head at that. Because I've been
absolute fanboying.
Oh, mate, honestly, I've been listening to that since, I think it was about 2 years after it had started. And it was some little shitty group of mates who talked about Premier League football, and it wasn't that great, whereas now it's turned into this massive juggernaut of football content. And yeah, there's some, again, as you've mentioned, James, there's some proper football journalists there. Yeah, and then there's a bloke who sits in his conservatory and a bloke who frequently leaves his skylight open and has got fucking flies coming in. Camera goes off every week. Yeah, he's mad. Yeah.
But I've got a little waiter that sits at the side of me though, passes me drinks.
Yeah, passing drinks up like that.
It's not all bad, but no, we are nominated for the best club content creator in the Football League award. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like I said, I think it's a win in itself that we've just got to that stage. Obviously, we were there a couple of years ago, but we're there again, and yeah, fingers crossed. You never know, we could come away with some sort of an award. But no, I was going to say as well, massive thanks to all the Patreon members as well for that. Again, you fully back what we do. You're there every single week listening, and just also the community that we've got as well is just absolutely fantastic. The Discord kind of runs itself really, and I've had people saying the Discord is more. He's kind of worth the Patreon subscription in itself, really, which is a credit to everyone, really. Because I have a few inputs in that, but really, like I said, it's the community that run all that. John says on more than Emmerdale, thanks to Dedge. Yeah, it does feel like it.
I was having a conversation with this actually, James, with somebody at work the other day, and they were going, You boys put out a fucking load of content, didn't you? Because obviously I've started a new job, and there's a huge Birmingham City fan who listens to it. He said, like, I just kind of found it and stumbled on it, and then when I saw you on the first day, I was like, I recognise him. He's from that Sheffield Wednesday podcast. He said there was a point where you were doing like 3, 4, 5 a week, weren't there? And I was like, yes, it was not fun.
Well, this week in itself, obviously, was Sunday, so there's 2 on a Sunday. Then I did Monday, which was the preview for the game on Tuesday against Grimsby.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, I did the one with the kit episode with Woody, which if you've not watched it or listened to it, go and take a listen. It's a great one. Just something a bit different. I mean, as it happens, we win a game the following weekend, but I didn't think it were going to be all anything positive, so I thought I'd put something else out. So that well. Then there was the watch along for the Grimsby game. Then you've got the debate show on Wednesday, and also the preview for the Portsmouth game. I was like, Thursday coming out, and I was like, I want a bit of a rest. But no, I do love it. I do love.
Yeah, it's great.
So many different people as well, and I just love. I really enjoy doing it. Do you know what? We didn't even talk about the QPR game coming up. I just realised that. Just like we totally skipped that bit, but anyway, don't matter.
They're on a tear. They're on an absolute tear after a 7-1 spanking. So yeah.
Yeah, I've no idea who their manager is. Julian Stephen, apparently. Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
No, your guess is as good as mine, James, there.
Anyway, let's Hillsborough then, and then versus every other ground that we go to, because you've been
Hillsborough versus the world.
It does feel like that. You've been to Leicester, you've been to Wrexham, been to Pompey now as well. The 4 points we've picked up this season have all come away from home, and the performance against Leicester was a decent one as well. Yep. Obviously, the performances have been much better away. I mean, do you think that's going to be the theme this season, Matt? I mean, we just look and feel a better side away, but I don't really know why that is. Is it easier to play away from home? I've no idea.
I don't buy the myth at all that it's easier to play away from home than it is at home. I'm not somebody who goes in for you get a huge advantage to playing at home now. I think aside from pitch dimensions, it's relatively an even game. I think it is dictated by, to use a cliche, 12th man. You'll go to some grounds and it is horrible, absolutely horrible as an away fan. Like, I don't want to use like a proper cliche here. Millwall, the last 2 times that I've been to Millwall, I've had 2 totally different experiences. One, we won 2-0 with Jan Paveda, It's Easy to Tame Lions, sat on the wall. And the other one where it was Shea Charles' first game and we got bopped 3-0. They, in the first 10 minutes, did exactly the same and behaved exactly the same as a set of fans in terms of that constant drone of just that, oh my God, it might give you a headache listening to it. And we quietened it, and it all went to very aggressive and angry, and they weren't particularly happy with the way that they were playing. Second time round where we went, in the 2 years, they start that, they get a goal, and it gets louder, and it gets louder, and then they score a second, and it gets even louder, and it cranks up again, and then they score a third, and it goes up again. My issue is, you could set up... Do you firmly believe, James, that setup that we had at Portsmouth yesterday, do you believe that we can't set up like that at home?
I think for me, though, the way I see it is, if you look at the possession stats yesterday, by the way, against Portsmouth, they were something like 70-30, nearly 69.8 to 30.2. It was just looking at the possession there. You think, well, if people play a Football Manager, they've been FM'd. Like when you're on top all game, and from a stats perspective, you look at that and you think, well, Portsmouth should have easily won. 25 shots, 70% possession, and they've lost the game 2-0. However, we obviously set up to, like I mentioned on the main pod, turn the ball over higher up. All right, possession doesn't mean everything. They did spend a lot of time just passing the ball amongst themselves at the back. Certainly, obviously, when we were 1-0 up and 2-0 up, it was easy. We'd kind of let them do that, didn't we? Really? Yeah. I just think when you do that at home, you imagine 20,000 fans, or 16 or 15 or how many thousand you kind of want to believe is at Hillsborough. and we give the other team the ball. I think you can do it against certain teams. When Leeds come, we can do that because we know Leeds are, a decent side, and the last 2 seasons we saw that. However, if we come up against this weekend QPR coming up, like I don't think as a fan base we would accept just letting the other side have as much ball as this. And I think subconsciously, as a team, you can't really just stand off him because it'll just be boos constantly. Like, come on, put a foot in. Whereas away from home, you're just too busy chanting to kind of start slagging the team off, if you know what I mean.
And this is where you get into, I've mentioned it a couple of times, Henrik's, for me, I've found Henrik's press conferences quite difficult to unpick. And I think that's just from used to listening to Danny Röhl's kind of way of either setting up a game or dissecting a game. Henrik's comments yesterday, I felt, after the game were absolutely spot on. And I understood every message that he was trying to get across. And I think this was his biggest telltale one. I get that it has not been good enough at home for an awfully long time, and the results do not inspire anything from a fan base. However, we as fans do not play our part at Hillsborough. Who on earth do we inspire at Hillsborough? Just because 17,000 people gather in one place, it doesn't mean a fucking thing. We are such an asset that most clubs at this level would give their first 11 to have. We don't back the team. We don't voice our displeasure at the ownership or by constantly. We turn up, we sing Hi-Ho Silver Lining on 10 minutes. We chant for 1 minute and spend the other 89 minutes sitting on our hands and chuntering to one another. It's fucking embarrassing. Like, look at how we could have been yesterday, we could have been 2-1 down at half time. Like, no issues. The backing doesn't stop. We could find ourselves 2-1 down in 2-1 would be like a stretch because we'd have to score at home. We could find ourselves behind every single league home game this year. We could. Our record over the last 12 months dictates we are not good at home. Like, we aren't. The 3 grounds this year, I feel as a Sheffield Wednesday fan who's been in attendance at all of those away games this year, we have forced the opposition into submission by just relentlessly making a racket. Players have talked about it for years at Hillsborough, years and years and years, about the away support and how, like they go, playing at Hillsborough is great, but, and away from home, we travel fantastically and we do so well away from home and it's really special. It should be the other way around. It should be, and the fans are great away from home. But playing at Hillsborough is just, you're not going to get many more atmospheres like it. When you were talking there earlier, James, about the, like you can't set up like that's QPR at home. My argument is, why not this year? Why can't you? Nobody expects anything. Why can't you? When we did that against sides like West Brom in the Great Escape season, fans backed it. Fans celebrate tackles. I mean this very nicely. In all of my time watching Sheffield-based football, we appreciate all of the horrible dog shit stuff that is not technical. We like proper investing. He's gone into a 50-50.
Well, that's why people like Jose Semedo was lauded, and then people like Josh Windass, if people think he's a stuck-up bastard. That's the reason why that happened, like for exactly that reason. But I do agree, like I was about to say, the atmosphere, when you look back, where were the best atmospheres and the best games? You go to Arsenal in the League Cup, you go to Newcastle in the FA Cup, and then most recently you go to Peterborough at the miracle game, 4-0 down. Yeah, there's 3 things in common with those games. Massive underdogs in every single one of them. Nobody expected us to beat Arsenal, and we did what we did. Nobody expected us to beat Newcastle, and we beat them as well. And obviously, absolutely no one expected us to turn a 4-0 deficit against Peterborough. And I think when you add those things in there, that's when we as fans kind of turn up, and it is that. Nobody gets on the back. It is that relentless singing and everything else, and every tackle's cheered because you're not expecting to do anything really. But then, so I suppose to your point there, maybe this season is going to be a bit different. But then I think this season is a strange one because of everything that's going off. I think people are kind of in limbo. as to kind of do I have to chant a Chansiri chant? Do I have to chant a normal chant? Do I have to chant? It's the other one. Like, and they're just. But Hillsborough has been like, it's been a morgue for a long, long time. There is the odd game where it's a decent atmosphere, but other than that, it has just been so bad. But I mean, do you think that puts pressure on the players then? Do you think that the fact that it is the way it is makes them shit the pants and they can't make a mistake in fear of getting absolutely lambasted by the fans?
Yeah, it's nail on the head, James, because the only noise that you get is a voice of displeasure when something doesn't go right, and it's usually something simple. Everyone goes, oh, fucking hell. And that's the only noise that you hear, and that filters down onto the pitch. And again, I understand why. I understand that the home record has been abysmal. If you are just a fan who goes to home games and gets to maybe 2 away games a year, it's really difficult to buy into what you're seeing in front of your eyes. I understand that. But I think everybody is in agreement that energy levels are a huge thing in football. That is impacted by motivation as well. And I think when you're looking at that performance yesterday, everyone cited it. We cited it, like Alex Miller cited it, Rob Staten has cited it. Every single player, every single person who makes a comment on the game, fans who like us, like just as fans who go to the game, we go, oh my God, they've left everything out there today. They've run their blood to water today. Why? Because they know that the people who are at those games, and I'm not just talking about this season, this goes into last season as well. They care and they want to, they will celebrate a player. Bannon yesterday, 80th minute, running from his penalty box out to the centre half, forces the ball back to the keeper. Keeper plays it wide. All the way end goes up. 10 more years, Barry Bannon. That happens at Hillsborough. This is all you get. You get like
he tries his best. He tries to whip the fans up if he goes for a corner. I mean, to be fair, last week he just didn't bother anymore, really. I mean, I suppose, to be fair.
What's the point? You're doing it to blue plastic seats.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm just looking at some numbers. So this season at home, 3 games, lost all 3, conceded 8 goals, haven't scored absolutely 1. Yeah. Contrast that to away from home, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 defeat, 5 goals, only conceded 4 away from home. That away record, you'd carry that throughout the whole. If you can carry that throughout the whole season, that's a decent away record.
Yeah, it is.
Last season, you mentioned it. It's not just this season. Last season as well. At home, 6 wins last season, and we finished 12th.
Yeah,
finished 12th. We only 6 wins at home, 8 draws, 9 defeats. Scored only 30 goals, conceded 32. Away from home, picked up 3 more wins away than we did at home. 9 wins, 5 draws, 9 defeats. All right, same number of defeats, but more wins away. Yep. Same number of goals, 30 goals, but in both did concede slightly more. But your home and away form shouldn't be that kind of close, or should I say, your away form shouldn't really be better than at home. But then you go to the season before that. So this is the season where we.
It's a Great Escape year.
The Great Escape season. Just looking at numbers for that one. Again, 8 wins at home, 7 wins away. That wasn't great either. But then you could, the season where we get promoted, 16 wins, only 1 defeat all season. Like, it's such a. I mean, I know it's a different league. Literally, it is a different league. We're in League One at that point. But when it you could argue there was more expectation in that season. Was there more pressure because we was expected to win every single game, and we pretty much did. 16 wins, 6 draws. It was a fort. We were talking. It was talked about being a fortress. We only conceded 16 goals at home. Like, it was a very different. That cliche. It's a difficult place to go. Now, piece of piss. Like, do you know what I mean? Well, is it just because it can't really be expectation because there was more expectation then, was there not?
Well, go back to one of the most underrated games, in my opinion, of that season at Hillsborough. Plymouth at home. Raucous atmosphere. What
Is that the
a
one where the
noise.
goal got choked off?
The
that
George
Byers,
Byers
that
ghost
one?
goal. Yeah, the George Byers ghost goal. The goal that was a goal up until it went up on the replay, and then it should still have been a goal, but wasn't a goal.
Yeah.
That was raucous. That was loud. That was aggressive. It was angry. And even if you go back into, those other games, where you were saying like there was a lot of pressure, but we'd score a lot of goals at home. So you go 2-0 up, and then guess what happened? Everyone gets involved and starts singing. I'm just going to pull this one up here, this comment from John Gurnell here, which just said, what about an ultra-style section at Hillsborough? Now, my immediate reaction was, fuck no, that's Tim Pot. However, at the moment, genuinely, I don't see an alternative to saying, do you know what? We've got a number of young fans that come to Wednesday. And when I say young, I'm talking anywhere between the ages of 14 through until early mid-20s. We've got a number of fans who go up and down the country following this mob who are of that age group. And it's really, really pleasing to see that there are so many young fans who will spend hard-earned cash, either theirs or their families, doing this in a really difficult time. And they go and they make a full day of it. When they're spaced out at Hillsborough, because maybe they still sit with the family on the Kop. Yeah. John Gurnell again. Is Hillsborough too big when half Fulham fans are dispersed everywhere? And like someone like myself, like if you catch me at an away game, apart from yesterday where it looks like I'm talking into my jumper, aside from that, that was a fucking weird experience. Aside from that, you like any ripple of a song, and because I'm loud as fuck, you'll hear me like also trying to get it going as well. Where I sit, dare you not breathe too loudly? But
in my seat, on the North, like I'll try and get a song going. You hear a song starting on the Kop, whatever, you'll try and get it going on the North. And obviously, when you sing it yourself, you can't hear everyone else, can you? Really, if it's properly set off. And then you kind of sing one verse, and then you kind of stop, or you kind of lower it a bit, and you go like, "It's only me fucking singing."
Yeah,
and I do try and get songs going, and then you think, come on, guys, just what's the point? I'm not asking for like a full orchestra to start getting going. Do you know what I mean? Just sing the song. You know the words. We sing them every bastard week. There's no new songs.
Yeah,
it's same one every time.
And that's it. Is I think coming back to your original question of why is the home form so bad? Why are we better away from home? For me, it is just that. It is that when there are even just shoots of encouragement, we don't do anything aside from a smattering of applause and then a half-arsed song that comes from T1. Like again, last week against Bristol City. You're 3-0 down after, best part of half an hour, 40 minutes? There's no fucker left. Like, everybody's just headed for the exits. Everybody's gone. And that isn't just because of the consequence of the scoreline. That is also because, in my opinion, currently what Hillsborough represents to so many Sheffield Wednesday fans, and that it represents everything that is... this is horrible. Hillsborough represents at this point in time everything that is rotten about this football club, because that knobhead's name is plastered everywhere. And you've got, again, if you want to get involved in all of the protests and bits and pieces, you've got certain ways that you are being asked or encouraged to behave. All the right thing to do. They're the right thing to do. But you are being asked to boycott it. Now, if you were 3-0 down at home years gone by, and you were sat in T1 and there was like, I don't know, 20 of you all out and you were going out in town after, and you're 3-0 down, you might have popped down to the concourse for beer, maybe two. I'll come up on 60 minutes and see if it's got any better. If not, I'll leave 5-10 minutes before the end, miss the rush for the tram, get into town and have a skinful. Now you just fuck off. Because what's the point?
You mentioned T1 there, and Jez has said the club needs a rebirth desperately. I mean, you mentioned the safe standing that never was, so never is, or whatever. By all accounts, I'm sure he said the away end, and then also I think it might be T1 where they were going to put that in or not. But do you know what? Like T1 gets bad rep by quite a lot of people, But do you know what though? The club needs to lean into it, not in the bad rep. I mean,
100%.
lean into the fact that that's where your most raucous fans are. If you want to get your chants going, and you want to sing, and you want to do whatever else, that is where you need to go and kind of advertise it as that. I mean, the people 100%. In there might not like it, but also like that's what you need to do. And do you know what? Put your safe stand in there. If that's what they're not going to do, like that's where they should have it, because that's where then people just stand up anyway. And you know what? If you start seeing it swelling, put more safe standing like in the next block as well, which will be T, I'm guessing. And just it might be that actually you end up with half of that the north stand. If you want to sit from the halfway line to the to the near the away end. That is that bit where it is going to be absolute party atmosphere all the time.
Yeah.
And do that bit. But instead, everyone gives it bad rep, and that's where all hooligans sit over there. It probably is, if that's because that's where there's a bit of atmosphere and there's some chanting. You're not going to sit yourself on halfway line on south stand if you're that way inclined. So, but the club can help this. Like, and you know what, like. It's just football. Like, yes, they stand up all game, but guess what? The people that are telling them not to stand up probably also stood up at a football game as well. Like, it is what it is. Like, just get over it, And
what I would say, James, is, and you were talking about the club needs to lean into it. Do you know what the club have done as a result of the persistent standing in that area?
What's
They've put
that?
huge, big boards up at the back. When you can see it from the south stand, they've put huge, big safety advisory notices up at the back of the rules surrounding persistent standing and the fines. They do not want and these are new this season. And I only noticed them at Bristol City last week, and that was only because there was no fucker stood there left at the end, midway through the second half. And I looked up and I was like, I swear they haven't been there before. Like, no, it might just be because normally that part of the stand is blocked from my view with just bodies of people stood up against the back of the stand. But I was looking at it and going, those are new this year, and those are new recently, I think. And it literally, you could almost read safety and advisory notice from, I think it's safety and advisory notice. I'll have a look when I'm next over. But it's looking at it there, and it is literally just sit down, shut up. Because the more we sit in silence in that stadium and just allow the abject shit on the pitch just to go no, and I'm not talking about getting after players here. I'm talking about there was a Portsmouth fan yesterday. Sorry, James, I'm going off on a tangent here. There's a Portsmouth fan yesterday.
This is what this is all. It should be called the Tangerine Show or something.
There we go. But there was a Portsmouth fan yesterday who on X, basically, it was in a praising post for Sheffield Wednesday. It was about the George Brown goal originally. And he was talking about George Brown did exactly what I would want any fucking Pompey player to do. I hold no complaints. Sheffield Wednesday deserve their win. Underneath that, it was like one of those with like the yarn, like a thread. He then talked about the atmosphere at Fratton Park this year. And he'd said the atmosphere at Fratton Park, as a Portsmouth fan who has been going home and away for a number of years, is fucking embarrassing at this point in time. It feels like fans are just, it was near as close to a sellout yesterday in the home end, in the three stands for the home end. And they didn't make much noise, which I was surprised about. And he just said it's fucking embarrassing. Last year, when we were scrapping for our lives or we were dog shit, there was noise constantly. It was intimidating, it was horrible, and it's ultimately what got us to safety and survival. We know all too well that plays a place, because that is exactly what happened in Danny Röhl's first season. When we saw there was light at the end of the tunnel, I think back to that West Brom game, and oh my God, the noise when Josh Windass tapped that ball in to make it 3-0. And when you go back and watch the footage, the camera's shaking and you can see bodies going everywhere. The point is, I'm not asking for that every week. It's something. It's got to be something. And to me, it does boil down to, I know Hillsborough's a big pitch. I know there's a slope on it. If you're an away fan coming to Hillsborough, it's a fucking field day at the minute, because we're just going to sit there in silence, and by 70 minutes, if the team's doing the job on the pitch, there'll be none of us left.
Yeah, I'm sure. We're going to count how many times we're going to hear football in a library being sung by. It's almost a given in it when fans come
And
to
they're right. Every single one of them is right. It's not like when we were in League One and Bristol Rovers would rock up and they've all turned up on a skateboard and they'd go, and it's a Tuesday night and they'd go, they'd start singing the football in a library song, and you were like, oh, give it a fucking rest, mate. One of yours is quite literally one of your stands is quite literally a pop up from a gazebo. Like, give it a rest. This, when Stoke turned up on the first home game, oh my God, I'd have never fucking shut up if it were me as a Stoke fan. Because I'd have just been like, all of these are absolutely rattled. And again, it goes back to, I understand why a lot of people leave. I do understand that. I do understand why it's difficult and it's painful and it's hard to stay with the team. And it's depressing as fuck. But I was having a conversation with somebody about this in the pub yesterday. End of the game, there must have been about 6,000 there against Bristol City, 7,000 home fans. We're not doing anything. We're not backing the team. We're not voicing our displeasure. We're not going against the ownership. We're turning up. We're sitting in silence. And like the good customers that we have been for too long, we're taking it and walking away in silence. And until that changes, that mentality at home, my personal opinion is I don't think the performances on the pitch will change either.
Yeah, Liam says the ground itself needs modernising. Now we've got the lift to the grandstand being out of use as well. Yeah, I'm sure there's been lots of other things. He also says if only we could play 46 away games, definitely. Yeah. John says we don't need much to excite us. No, just a £5 meal deal and we get excited, don't we? And then Scott said, all Seater killed the atmosphere whilst you understand why it came in. There was no better place in football than the Kop when it was full and rocking. There's another one as well. I can't find it now. Just here we go. Jez, top half of the Kop. S2 have done it, obviously in relation to the safe standing. And you know what, as well, as much as we poke fun at them about the tifo that they had and things like that, there is a kind of a group at United who are organising the flags and stuff. And while again, you can think what you want about that sort of stuff. Personally, I don't really like it. I feel like it's a bit forced, where it should just be kind of organic, really. However, having said that, we're organic and there's no atmosphere there. There's so kind of, yeah. Do you know what I mean? I don't like praising them down the road, but fair play to them. They're trying to do something. Do you know what I mean? And it is one of those where you do see it at other clubs and you think, well, that looks all right. Like it's mainly like the foreign clubs,
Palace. Yeah, Palace is the one that everybody goes to. Arsenal get a load of shit as well. And actually the Arsenal one I think is fucking exceptional. The one that's right behind the goal next to the away fans, that is... When they are at home, that is tough. That
and so I think, but I can see it now. Like a group like 1867, like it's going to be someone like them that try and get it off the ground, and it'll just what the fucking hell we're doing that for? Oh my God, that's a right shit idea. That no, I'm not fucking doing. It's just gonna be they'll get smashed from pillar to post by idiots, just like. That just think it's a shit idea. That'll never happen. But I mean, United, they had a flag and think the $5,500 they raised or something in about from when he was announced, which was last week, to the game, and then they get a flag. I mean, probably in like a couple of days actually, and then they get the flag made.
Well, the graphics were shite, doesn't it?
Probably, yeah. They got they got a couple of bed sheets together and from Asda, and then a bit of paint and painted it on. But no, again, I know we poke fun at them and stuff, but that's the thing that we could be doing, like that. Why having the flag that was out at Wembley and we had it on the Kop a few times. Where's that flag gone? Do you know what I mean? Like it's all different stuff like that you can do to generate some sort of an atmosphere. Fuck the band off because nobody likes them anyway. So
there's two of them now who turn up as well. There's literally two of them who turn up now.
Fuck them off and get T1 to bring a guy with the drum.
Again, James, like if you were looking to try and keep this as unplastic, we're trying to generate an atmosphere here. I know the name has got connotations with a bygone era that no longer exists in football. If you started something called the EBRA, which again I know East Bank Republican Army has got certain connotations with a darker history of Sheffield Wednesday in terms of the dark ages of football hooliganism and all the rest of it. But if you started a fan movement of EBRA and said, right, 200 season ticket holders or 200 fans are all going to sit smack in the corner right next to the away fans in T1, and it is just going to be constant noise, you've got one knobhead stood at the front with a megaphone shouting chants up and all the rest of it. Like, bring Tango over from where he sits and get him fucking in there as well and steer into all this stuff. Guess what? I know, having sat on that north stand, it will gradually make its way down. And when it gradually makes its way down and there's a 1.5 seconds delay, the cop will start. And then in my lifetime, I don't think I will ever see a fucking chant happen on the south stand. I genuinely don't. But my point is, James, if that happened, I would comfortably move. Like, I would give up, in my opinion, what is the best season ticket in the house at Hillsborough to go and be involved in some sort of an atmosphere to make it feel a little bit more like away games, because that is a huge part of the why so many people who go to those games, like Liam goes to fucking everywhere following this bastard thing, and I would assume it's not just because of the football on the pitch in the 90 minutes. That's kind of a byproduct at away games. Yeah. You're like, do you know what? It is everybody's happy. It doesn't matter what's going on really on the pitch. Everybody is just up and about it and singing, and everyone's up for a laugh. If you just stuck even half of the people there in one area in Hillsborough, your atmosphere would improve tenfold. It would.
So there we go. Reason why I've lost 3 games is our fault. End of.
Bad customers. But again, I think if you get the fans, like if you just went and did like a fan experiment and just pipe noise in, like anytime the ball goes out, someone in the PA thing just hits play, and it's not, hey, ho, let's go. And it's not that. If you just pump in some crowd noise or applause, I wonder what the difference would be. Like, I genuinely wonder what it would be.
It's why they call that encouragement, Matt. That's what that's called. That's.
Sorry, James. I've also just seen this from Jez Ward, OCS, Al's Choir Squad.
Yeah, come by, my lord.
I like
come
that.
Yeah, right. Let's for the next 5-10 minutes just talk about the thing that we're actually going to talk about, which was, we kind of touched on this a little bit on the main pod, to be fair. But my worry, Matt, is that we've won a game. We're not on the bottom, although Oxford did win today, so that they have. We are now next to bottom, but we picked up 4 points. It's not as bad as what we all thought it was going to be. My distinct worry, and I think other people have highlighted this as well, is that things like the protests are going to slow down. And also, even worrying, although when we were talking off air, you kind of said it doesn't really matter about this, he might actually think he's doing a good job, Dapon, because he's slashed the wage bill. The wage bill is probably half. And he's not had to spend a penny on new players. He's just used what he's got. He's literally, he's rummaged around the fridge, not like you do on it's not like a Wednesday or a Thursday in week, and you feel fucking over it.
Sorry, James, not Phoenix Knights here, but that Peter Kay, where if I'm on a diet, and then by Wednesday you're in the cupboard going, I've got to have something up here. There's got to be a wagon wheel, something. Jam mini roll.
Or it's normally like, it's shopping day on a Thursday, on Wednesday, and you're like, fucking hell, you're putting things together that don't go together whatsoever, just trying to make do. I mean? That's effectively what Chansiri's doing this season. Like, we're just making do with what we've got, because that is it. Like you said, delving into the back of that cupboard, like that's the youth team. Like, what we got down here, look, good in here. But we jest. But what I'm saying is, he's done that. And he's probably thinking to himself, well, I spent money like 2 seasons ago with Cisco, and we were worse than this. Do you know what I mean? That is my worry, that he's going to think that actually this is the way to run a football club. You don't need to spend money. You just absolutely rinse it dry of everything, and you can be better. But like you said, it's not because of him. It's because of the players. And the manager. In
spite of him, yeah. I mean this very nicely, James. He can think whatever the fuck he wants. It ain't going to make any blind bit of difference in the coming weeks, months, and year. I don't think. Genuinely, I think there will be people who. We've mentioned it a couple of times before. Like when an old player gets that tap on the shoulder of just, right, time's time, kid. Someone's going to do that to Deji in the next couple of weeks, in my opinion, and it's going to be the independent football regulator and the EFL combined action that comes down against him. He will leave, when he does leave, he will leave Sheffield Wednesday thinking he did an amazing job regardless. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Because that is him as a person and as a character. He'll come out and say, I tried my best. I invested all of this money. It just didn't work. It's unfortunate. The fans blamed me when they were wrong to do so, but I know I can leave knowing my family's legacy has played a good part in getting that club as close to the Premier League as it's got since it dropped out of it, which the headline stats do read that, and they're going to continually read that forevermore until somebody does get us back up into the top division. I don't disagree with you, James. He will think he's doing a good job. The problem is he's hit so many tripwires currently. Like, this is, we've been under embargoes before. It has not been this bad before in his reign. And I just look at it and just think that, especially with the amount of press, especially with the amount of coverage that we've been getting in places like the House of Lords, the House of Commons, the Houses of Parliament, you are now looking at it and going, Dej, you think what you want, lad, but this has gone too far. And somebody sooner or later is coming. Because can you imagine, James, and I mean this very nicely, let's say end of week 1, the independent football regulator has ticked off all his stuff and he's gone, right, all of these things, we're going to charge Chansiri with this and we're going to try to take the club off him. What's your appeal when you go to court? What legal ground do you have? Did you comply with the EFL regulations about providing 12 months worth of money? No. Can you do that now? No. Okay.
It just needs to be yes/no questions, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah. In
Yes
terms of the transfer embargoes, can you also explain to me how you ended up in your first transfer embargo? Oh, well, the EFL wouldn't allow me to put the stadium sale in the right year. Hang on, wasn't that like a loophole that a lot of clubs tried and all of them failed as a result of it? What did you value Hillsborough at, just off chance? 60 million. What, you valued a stadium that's crumbling at 60 million and sold it to yourself and remortgaged it? What about the mortgage? Have you been paying the mortgage? No. The case, I know when people are getting very nervous about going, it's like Man City will sue them to high heaven. The difference with Man City is, guess what? Man City can afford a fucking lawyer. He can't. Wow. They can afford the best legal team. There was an estimate, there was price that came up of the estimated legal fees that it's cost, and that's the reason why this is stretched out, is because Man City have wanted to drag it out. The estimated legal fees are running to close to $1 billion. For the total thing. Yes, the Premier League will be taking, let's say, half of that. Man City have also got half of that. Can you imagine when the independent football regulator, with the weight of a taxpayer behind them, because that's who's paying for it. It's us. It's us who are paying for him to get out. Is he cannot fight it because he hasn't got the money to pay a couple of now with the wage bill being slashed to where it is. Monthly, what's the outgoings? Maybe just a touch over £1 million. Now with all the outgoings gone, maybe just a touch over £1 million. He can't cover that. He can't cover that and his normal tax bill, and he also owes on a stadium, and he's also not engaged with the EFL. He won't engage with the football regulator, irrespective of what Trevor and Alistair said at a fans forum of, we will comply. No, you fucking won't, because you've got proof that you don't do it.
Yeah, do you know what? Obviously, we know that this the 30th of September, the last day, is when the loan on the stadium's due. We've got a full week tomorrow left of September. It would not shock me in the slightest if season tickets come on sale tomorrow. It would not shock me at all, because when you mentioned about it needs to get £10 million, we've already said that kind of £8 million comes from season tickets when we were okay. Well, he will do that, and he will get £4-5 million. If he gets £8 million on a decent season, he will get at least £4 million. in that one fell swoop, and then it makes it a lot less. And then, yeah, I am really fearful of that. And just to let you know, by the way, the trust are primed and ready for when that lands. They've got it all ready. It's all done, dusted, signed off, and everything. And when it lands, bang, they're going to come out and tell people to refrain from buying them. But people will still buy them.
The other thing is, James, say for argument's sake, let's say we all wake up tomorrow to the announcement that season tickets are on sale for a week window or like a 48-hour window at the price of, let's go off the one that John Gurnill's put in here, £400. All over the stadium, it's £400, flat rate. Now is your time to apply. I think you'll get, of what, we've got a rough estimate, 17,000 season ticket holders this year. I think you get 5 or 6. Because look at Grimsby, look at Leeds.
Yeah,
the feeling of people will sit there and go, well, I was paying £600 for it anyway. I'll sit and wait this out. There will be people who do that. There will be people who go, I'm not giving him any more fucking money. Yes, you will still have them, like a silent minority who will buy them and will keep their mouth shut and won't say out about it, etc., etc. But I still think that is going to be at least 10,000 hit in the window. Now,
6,000, just numbers, 6,000, I've increased it to £500 average.
Yeah.
3 million.
Okay, 3 million still wouldn't, even at a reduced rate from the information, unconfirmed reports that we've had, 3 million won't buy you that loan from the bank. They want close to 4. 3 million will get you through this month's wages, next month's wages, but it won't cover your big tax bill. So what the fuck are you going to do? Because you're not getting any more money on the concourses. You're not getting this. You can't sell a player. You have tried every avenue to borrow money. Again, I'm not happy to be proved wrong. I'll be very disappointed to be proved wrong. His window to sell this football club is the next week. That is his window. He's had this window open all the time, and they look like a brief glimpse throughout there. And I've said, now is your time to sell, Dej. Now is your time to sell. Now's your last orders. Now, this week, this next 40 days, that's your last orders. Because if you don't get it done then, who the fuck is going to give you any sort of a price that you want? Because they're not. Because an independent football regulator is going to come in, much like I do, you do, if you wanted to sell your house. If you wanted to sell your house, and they'll come in and you'll get an estate agent, come round, have a look at this roof that's falling down, have a look at the lift that doesn't work up to the grandstand, have a look at the training pitch that injures players rather than getting them fit, have a look at the conservatory, have a look at the bulls that are all deflated, have a look at, those flags you were talking about, the mouldy ones that are tucked away behind the megast, and they'll go 20 million, 25 on a good day. Tell you what, we'll start it at 25 and see if we've got any takers. And what's he going to do then? Because he had an offer of close to, unconfirmed reports, obviously, he had an offer of close to 70 million quid with additional add-ons at the start of the summer. And it's just prime example of it. He will walk away, and if he were somebody of sound emotional, financial logic, he'd walk away and go, fuck, I made a right Rick there. But he won't. He'll go, at least it didn't go to them. At least it didn't go to that group.
Just finally, Matt, before we wrap things up, when he does finally go and he does leave, do you think he will have a final parting shot at the fans?
Yeah, of course I do. Do you know what? I'd be disappointed if he didn't, James. Genuinely, I would. I'd be really disappointed if he didn't try and asset strip us a bit more. I would. Now, the interesting thing for me with that will be, let's say the independent football regulator gets the wheels in motion early. It's the easiest press slam dunk that you've ever got. Inside of the first month, the independent football regulator has shown the big bad football world, I can get rid of an owner by putting Dejphon Chansiri on trial, football ownership trial. Do you know if it takes a bit of time? I bet you any money Piers Charles is sold in January. I bet you any money Bailey Cadamartri, Ernie Weaver, Jan Valery, anybody with any monetary value is sold to try and help him fight this.
But do you know what? As sad as it would be if those players do leave, I would take that. I would take a lot. Getting rid of all the lot of them, Barry Bannon, Jan Valery, every player we've got, managers, everything. If it meant that Chansiri left, and that's really, it is really sad to think that. To be fair, that you would let these players go. Liam says, and I do agree, guaranteed that the first home game post DC will be a sellout.
Can you imagine the queue at the Megast, like for the shirts,
Mate.
and everybody hates them. Everybody hates them.
Jake dropped off all the scarves earlier. I was chatting to him for about 10 or 15 minutes, and I said the same. I said, when new owners come in, it could be a Tuesday, it could be any day. Literally, Megast will open at 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it is. First thing they need to do is get more staff on in the shop, because you're right, the queue will be fucking down Penistone. It'll be snaking around the car park through that fan zone on that nice little AstroTurf that they've got, and it'll be straight down Penistone Road. It'll be you won't be able to move for people trying to buy the shirt. They'll be buying the lot. They'll be buying shorts that they're never going to wear, adult shorts and socks, full kit wanker, everything. Just and people will go mad for it, and I'm all for it. I genuinely, thinking about it now, I'm getting kind of like goosebumps thinking like what it'll be someone shit. It might even be next season against fucking Cheltenham or whatever. It'll be packed. It'll be absolutely packed.
Do you know what happened? Cheltenham will score early doors.
Probably.
I can't wait. I'm so fucking excited.
Right, anyway, let's wrap things up there. Again, massive thanks everyone for being Patreon members. I do really, really appreciate it, as always. I am going to upload also your little half an hour match day special episode as well, so make sure you listen to that one as well. Do appreciate it. Just want to bring this one up from John. Top stuff, gentlemen. Good luck at the awards. It's not the end of November, so we've got a while until the awards yet. There's a bit more voting.
I'll be honest, James, you won't even have clocked that. That's a proper Yorkshire term. That it's not while. Whoa. That was a hit of Yorkshire that was a hit of Yorkshire heroin right there. Whoa, it's not wild. Oh.
There we go. He's born and bred.
Outstanding that.
Also, I'm sure it was John that came up to me at the watch along on Tuesday, last Tuesday as well, and said hello and stuff. So if it was you, I was setting up at the time. I was stressed because I forgot that fucking charging cable as well for all the microphones. Yeah, he says it was. Yeah, so yeah, nice to meet you, John. Always good. And you meet so many people as well, don't you? When you're certainly the away games, Matt, as well.
Yeah, away games. I would really, please, if you do see me and I'm not talking into my jumper, please come and have a conversation with me. It's genuinely, it brings a smile to my face every single time, and happy to talk Sheffield Wednesday, happy to talk just total bollocks about anything that's going on. I think next away game, it's a big one as well. London away days, Charlton. I'm gonna, again, if anybody is heading down, I'm heading to the Angerstein Hotel, which is the last train stop before Charlton. Main away pub, superb. Absolutely superb. Cheap pints as well for London. So, yeah.
All for it. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to wrap things up, and we'll see you all tune in on Wednesday for another episode of The Debate Show. But cheers, guys. Thank you.